Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being here tonight. I apologize I wasn't here right at 7 o'clock, but I had another Pints and Politics, the Washington County GOP, down the street at the Riverside, so I apologize I didn't get to hear the entire first presentation, but thank you very much for having me here. I do appreciate it. My wife Lori and I grew up in central Wisconsin, and yesterday a series of shootings led to the death of 4 individuals, and one of them was a law enforcement officer. This happened in our hometown, and the law enforcement officer who died was Detective Jason Weiland of the Everest Metro Police Department, and I hope you all will keep the Weiland family in your thoughts and prayers at this awful time. And I hope that this tragedy causes us all to focus on the role that law enforcement plays in our lives and how important they are and how they put themselves in harm's way for us every single day to make sure we stay safe. So I don't mean to start out on a down note, but I just thought that should be acknowledged. I did grow up in central Wisconsin. My wife and I both grew up outside Wausau. We got married after college, and we both went to college at UW-Madison. We are a Badger family. We both graduated from UW-Madison. Our daughter graduated from UW-Madison. After college, I went to Harvard Law School, and I got a great legal education there, but I'll always be a Badger. It was a great experience. I enjoyed my time at Harvard, and I'm proud that I went there, but I didn't learn how to be a lawyer in law school. I learned how to be a lawyer in the courtrooms of Washington County. Back when Chris Dice was clerk of circuit court, Barb Extens was a judicial assistant, Jerry O'Brien was a court reporter, but I learned how to be a lawyer in court, and that's the way it has to happen. The important thing we have to consider, you have to consider in deciding who to vote for on April 4th is who has the experience, not just education, but who has the experience that's necessary to be a good judge. Because a judge has to know his way around a courtroom. In my time as an assistant district attorney, and now as a judge, I've handled just tens of thousands of cases. Thousands of felonies, hundreds of violent felonies, dozens of homicide cases. I've tried upwards of 175 jury trials as a prosecutor and another 50 or so as a judge. And most of these have been criminal cases. If you have a case where the stakes are high, where a person's liberty is at stake, and where a victim is crying out for justice, you need a judge who knows the law and who knows the criminal law and who's been in a courtroom and tried a case before. And I've tried a lot of them. The courtroom has been my home for 26 years. First 19 of them as a prosecutor, the last 7 as a judge. And people always ask, what's your judicial philosophy? Well, to explain that, I would turn to my friend and former colleague, Justice Annette Ziegler from here in West Bend. I'm going to pinch one of the lines from one of her opinions. Our form of government provides for one legislature, not 2. A judge's job is not to legislate from the bench. A judge's job is to interpret the law. If a judge is happy with all the decisions he makes, he's not a very good judge because he's basing his decision on his personal feelings rather than the law and the result that's required by the law. The judge applies the law, the judge does not make it. And that's the way, that's been my philosophy every day I've been on the bench, and it will continue to be my philosophy. But so there's education, and I've got it. There's experience, I've got loads of it. But then there's also, I think a good judge needs to be able to change the system when it's not working efficiently. And I've done that, and I'm going to continue to do it if I'm reelected. Number one, back in 2015, I discovered that there was an unacceptably long period of time between the time that a repeat drunk driver was arrested and the time the drunk driver made his first court appearance. It was upwards of 137 days, 4.5 months to get a repeat drunk driver in court. If you have children, you know that if a child misbehaves, the faster you discipline them, the more likely they are to learn from their mistake. So I thought, this is unacceptable. We have to do something about it. So I came up with a plan to fast-track initial appearances on OWI cases for repeat offenders. And in cooperation with the district attorney, Mark Benson, who's here, the law enforcement, including Sheriff Schmidt, who's here, the other judges, including Judge Boros, who is here, we implemented a fast-track OWI system. As a result of this, well, in 2015, it took an average of 137 days to get a repeat drunk driver into court after his arrest. In 2016, it takes just over 5 days. I'm proud of that innovation. It's a simple idea, but sometimes the simplest ideas are the best. I'm also respectful of taxpayer money. We spend a lot of money incarcerating people. Drunk driving is a very dangerous offense. So I've assisted in the implementation over the past years of an OWI diversion program. We require people to get into intensive outpatient treatment, and in exchange, they get a somewhat shorter jail sentence. In 2016, this resulted in almost $300,000 in savings on jail costs, which would directly have gone to the taxpayers if that program was not in place. But not just saving money, I think we're doing good in getting people into treatment so that they don't reoffend. And finally, heroin. Heroin is a scourge in our community. I have dealings with heroin cases every single day. I see every single day the devastation that this drug wreaks, not only on the people who take the drug, but their families, their moms, their dads, their siblings, the people they steal from, and most sadly, their children. I see parents who can't or refuse to take care of their children because of their addiction. We have to do something about heroin. So, with the assistance again of law enforcement, the DA, the public defender, the private bar association, and the judges, we've come up with a program for diverting heroin abusers and getting them into mandatory treatment that includes medication-assisted treatment, that includes random drug testing, and intensive outpatient treatment that can be 3 to 4 times a week, 3 to 4 hours a day. And we got a grant, and the grant is $500,000. 500,000 treatment dollars are going to flow into Washington County over the next 5 years because of this grant. In addition, we're actually meeting next week to try to get another grant of federal dollars, $400,000, to bolster that, to increase access to medication-assisted treatment. We have to do something about heroin. The stakes are too high, and I'm proud to say I'm a leader in that effort in Washington County. So, I also, finally, as I wrap this up, I have broad support throughout the community. The people who are in the best position to evaluate how good a judge does his job, I think, are the appeals court judges and the Supreme Court justices who rule on my decisions and review my decisions. I've gotten a great deal of support from the Wisconsin Supreme Court, Court of Appeals, all the Washington County judges, heads of law enforcement in Washington County, the lawyers in Washington County. They know I'm a good judge. They know I'm doing the right thing, and I'm trying my best for the people of Washington County. I've spent a quarter century serving the people of Washington County as a prosecutor and a judge. I want to continue to do that, and I ask respectfully for your support in that regard. I ask you to vote for me on April 4th. I did bring some brochures with my background and some more details about what I've done on the bench, and also my supporters, and I'd invite you to take a look at those or take a look at my website. And also, I'd be happy to stick around after we're done today and answer any questions or talk about issues that are concerned to you. But at the bottom line, I thank you for your attention, and I respectfully request your support. Thank you so much.